Scotland once again takes centre stage. Event number 14 takes place here at Leven Links, a course steeped in history and one that holds a special place in the history of the EuroPro Tour. Welcome to the Eagle Orchid Scottish Masters. Well, there is plenty to take in here at Leven. There is the history. This club was formed way back in 1846. There is the EuroPro legacy. Jack South shot an astonishing round of 59 12 months ago. And of course, this tournament will play a huge part in who will make the top 5. Well, I'm delighted to be joined by Rachel Drummond. Rach, what a venue and what an occasion.
I know, it's beautiful. And we got the sunshine. Last week we had the torrential rain, so it's nice to have some sea air and sun.
Well, you mentioned there, didn't it? The weather took centre stage last time out. A lot better this time, but you had a 7-hole playoff. Busy lady you are.
I was. I got some practice in on camera. It was amazing to see, though, 3 men battling it out. And it looked like it could have gone on forever. But we had a great winner in Stewart, and I know a few of those guys in the playoff wanting to get their own back this week.
Absolutely. Well, we've got blue skies this time out. We are still in Scotland. A little bit windy, so how do the players deal with that?
Yeah, I spoke to Taylor Cart, who just teed off, and he said it's swirling quite a lot. So he could be playing into wind one second and downwind the next, which isn't ideal for a player, but you've got to just pick the right club when you can and hope for the best.
Well, hold fire. Before we take a look at the events this week, time to take a look at the Order of Merit. Well, it is all about being in the top 5. James Allen's still comfortably at the top, and of course Dermot McIlroy in 2nd. Brandon Robinson-Thompson, so impressive at the Vale, is 3rd. But elsewhere, the changes are noticeable. Michael Stewart is up to 4th, Ryan Brooks in 5th, and the men to watch include Paul Maddy, now 6th, and Stuart Graham, last week's winner, into 9th. And we can't ignore the incredible round of 59 shot by Jack South last year. As a player, how impressive is that to do that?
I mean, it's stuff you dream of doing. I used to do visualisation rehearsals of shooting a score like that. So to actually go out and execute is something special. And he came out this week and shot another 8 under. So having, those visualisations and knowing you can do it, and then he's done it again is seriously good.
And let's also talk about Michael Stewart. He's certainly one to watch, isn't he? Especially after last week. He's feeling confident on home soil too.
100%. He did extremely well at Q School first stage, DP World, and then he came out last week into the playoff. He's leading at the moment. He's 4th in the Order of Merit. He knows that a victory is going to just get him one of those cards. So he knows what he needs to do. OK, well, another player who has swapped the microphone for the golf clubs this week is our very own Simon Dyson. He's out with Kit Alexander to take a closer look at the course.
Simon, you've been out on the course. Tell us what you think of Leven Links and how it's playing.
Yeah, it's really nice, really good course. Some really well-placed bunkers. I found most of them today, unfortunately, but northwesterly winds, so course kind of goes out, comes back, goes out, comes back again. So a lot of the wind is straight across, so you can make this course quite easy by putting the pins on the right side of the green, but then you can make it really tough and put them on the wrong side of the green. So it's it's a good test, so I've enjoyed it.
Looks pretty green at the moment. We've had a bit of a drought through the summer, and then in the last couple of weeks a lot of rain has come down. How firm or soft is it playing?
Yeah, pretty firm, pretty firm. I mean, hitting into the greens, you get a good couple of skips before you get the spin. They are taking good shots though, but also they're releasing a lot when you're not able to get the spin out the rough. So it's a really good test, and it's quite a strong wind. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Nice to have a card back in my hand again.
What kind of shots were you needing to call upon today, and do the players need in general in their arsenal around here?
I think that low ball flight, just keeping it out the wind, there's a lot of shots like that, you know, holding it up against the wind, just managing the ball really. There's certain holes where you can kind of open your shoulders and really get after them, like on the par 5 12th, you can knock it down the 6th fairway, go in with like a 7 or 8 iron, so it's not too bad in that respect. But then there's a few holes where you kind of really have to manage your ball, like 4 good strong par 4, and you know, out of bounds down the right, bunkers so well placed again, one of which I found again today. But yeah, I think if you just control your ball flight, you can get it round.
How did it feel to have a card and pencil in hand?
Do you know what? It was great. It was great. I've not had one in my hand for a good 3 or 4 years. And you know, those nerves were there on the first tee yesterday, which is kind of what I miss. I miss that, the excitement of seeing what another day will bring, competing and card in your hand, marking it. Played with Nick and Jack, you know, good lads, and we all had a nice day. So yeah, it was good.
Well, plenty to challenge our field out there today, so time to take a look at the leaderboard heading into the final round. Well, after missing out in the playoff last week, Michael Stewart has come in all guns blazing and sits 2 shots clear at the top. Nick Watson and Brandon Robinson-Thompson just behind the Scotsman on 11 under. Well, 4 names currently on 8 under, including Joe Brooks, who's regularly featured at the top of the leaderboard, and also Jack South, who remarkably shot a round of 59 to win here last year. Well, time to join our commentators.
Well, thanks very much, Gabby. And here is our overnight leader, Michael Stewart. This is where he's driven it to at the opening hole. And some testing conditions today. Very favourable over the first 2 rounds, but it's changed a bit for this final 18. He'll be happy enough with that approach. And before the off, we spoke to him about last week's near miss at Spey Valley.
Now it's all like it's over and done with. But on Friday, the drive home from Aviemore to Troon was a sore one, and then even Friday night was tough again. Saturday morning I wasn't feeling great either, but you never know what the situation is going to be like in terms of how you're going to feel. I actually think in hindsight, me finishing and them having to catch me was maybe a good thing. But in the playoff, I felt, like I say, waiting around, I felt fine with the shots, but that putt in the first playoff hole, I was really nervous. I think probably for the first time in my career that I can think of, the nerves really kind of got the better of me. I started thinking about I actually thought about celebrating with my caddy. You know, it was really strange, and it just shows you that in golf you can never get ahead of yourself, because 2 holes later I was out of it. So yeah, hindsight's a wonderful thing, and I know there was things in that playoff I need to do better. Everyone talks about sticking to the process and stuff like that. That was what I kind of lost. I lost the process a little bit and got ahead of myself, so I took lessons from it. The positives to take from it are, I mean, Alan, my coach, said to me straight away, he's like, look, you're in the top 5 and you haven't won. How good do you need to play to be in there? And I was like, well, that is true. There's a lot of guys that are thereabouts that haven't won, that are playing similar golf to what myself and Joe Brooks and Paul Maddy and these guys. They're playing great golf. So it is important. I think it's better to be in the top 5 situation now that you're coming to the end of the season and stuff. You don't want to be too far on the outside looking in. I know anything can happen when you get to the Tour Champs. I get that. I think Adam Chapman a few years ago was 59th or something like that, and he got his Challenge Tour card. So I do know that anything can happen, but I am pleased that worst case scenario from the playoff is that I'm in the top 5.
And here's the other man who was in the playoff last week, Dermot McIlroy, and Ash Weller is alongside me for this final round.
Good morning. You can see we've got some proper links conditions this morning. It's been very calm, very placid, but the wind's up. It's going to change their strategy, change their club selections. It'd be interesting to see how they cope.
So McIlroy gets his first birdie of the day after parring the opener. Back on the first, Brandon Robinson-Thompson. Still a bit of work to do to get his Challenge Tour card for next year. And a lot of work to do there to open up with a par.
Bit of a nerve jangler there for him coming up.
Dermot McIlroy, being from North County Antrim, will be well accustomed to playing in conditions like this, and far worse indeed.
Absolutely, and it's not a strong wind, but it's a testing wind, and ball control is going to be absolutely crucial today.
And what a statement this would be from Stewart. 2-shot lead overnight. Well, he'll settle for that, nice and safe. If you can't birdie the first as overnight leader, at least don't test the nerves too much. And just a tap in par keeps him at 13 under.
Got to admire Stewart's resilience, coming back after the heartbreak of last week, straight back in contention.
Well, absolutely, and he's been showing it all year, hasn't he? Because he's had so many good weeks, so many chances to win. Hasn't happened for him yet. Brandon Robinson-Thompson has been a winner this season, but he starts with a dropped shot. Tell us about the second hole, Ash.
Shortish par 4, there's a split fairway. Players generally will hit driver to leave themselves a short little pitch in. They can either go down that right side there, or they can get a little bit further down on the left. Pin today is 23 yards on and 4 from the left, so quite tucked.
Nick Watson then of Stoke Rochford Golf Club, 64 and 65 so far, and he's opened with a par today.
Nice little in off the cush there, sets up a birdie opportunity for him.
Now McIlroy made his birdie putt at the third. He's also birdied the fourth to complete the hat-trick, and here he is now at the fifth, first of the par threes, and nobody played the short holes better than him over the first 2 rounds.
And I think that shows us why. It's 155 yards today, bit of a crosswind, but great shot there.
Second has played the easiest of the par fours. Nothing easy about this shot for Stewart though.
Well, that looked a snarly little lie, that one. Got work to do there.
Callum Farr had rounds of 68 and 65. He's already had a birdie today at the second.
Can he emulate McIlroy? Not too shabby.
Looks positively mediocre compared to McIlroy's shot, but 2 fine efforts there. Now Robinson-Thompson looking to get back that one he dropped at the opener.
Not quite. Tap in for par, but he'll be wanting to get that shot back as soon as possible.
As I said, he's on the brink of getting one of those 5 Challenge Tour cards, but still needs a result or two. And before the off today, he spoke with Kit.
Obviously happy to be here. It's nice to play a couple of good rounds. Mikey's playing very well this past few months, so yeah, just going to enjoy the competition today.
Looks like we're going to get a bit more wind today than we've had the rest of the week as well. What do you think about the forecast and how that might affect things?
I mean, obviously it's probably going to keep scoring down a little bit, sort of 20 to 25 mile an hour today, and a little colder. So yeah, probably keep scoring down a little bit maybe, but you never know, someone might get hot.
McIlroy's hotter than anyone at the moment. This is for his 4th birdie in a row.
In she goes, 4 in a row. Wow, that is a statement to the leaders. Watson for his birdie on the second. We've learned anything from Robinson-Thompson's putt? No, he's just left it out to the right as well.
Came into this week at number 67 on the order of merit, so obviously the priority for him at the moment is to secure a Tour Championship place. He can get that firmly under lock and key today with this great position he's put himself in. Now Farr looking for his 2nd birdie already in this final round.
Has it got the legs? Yes, it has. Pair of 2s there. Now Stewart, he'll be wanting to get this, keep everything on the level. Oh, he's just missed it to the right as well. Now he's got to keep himself together.
Yeah, an early setback for Stewart, which means that having trailed by half a dozen overnight, McIlroy remarkably is already back to just 1 behind, sharing 2nd with Nick Watson, who's opened with a couple of pars. Always worth keeping an eye on the super consistent Joe Brooks. He is just 4 off the lead. Michael Stewart still out in front, but Dermot McIlroy is very much leading the charge at Leven Links.
Welcome back to Leven Links for the Eagle Orchid Scottish Masters. Well, 12 months ago, this course witnessed a breathtaking round of 59 shot by eventual winner Jack South. Well, he's back and Kit Alexander caught up with him to look back at that life-changing moment.
Of course, last year in the final round, we witnessed one of the most spectacular finishes in PGA EuroPro Tour history. This man alongside me, Mr. 59, shot that incredible number to lift the trophy here at Leven Links. We're going to come and relive a few of the great moments from that incredible round, Jack. And we're going to start right here, 6th fairway, par 5. You're 3 under par when you get to this point, right? So tell us what shot you're facing here.
Yeah, so it was a pivotal moment really, because I was in between 2 iron and 3 wood. I had about 250 yards and I'd been swinging it well and hit a great 2 iron to 25 feet and just shaved the edge for eagle but tapped in for birdie, and that kind of gave me momentum to keep the round going from there really.
You birdied every hole from 5 to the turn. Was it at that moment when you thought something special might be happening?
Yeah, it was starting to creep into my mind, but only when I birdied 11 and 12 and was 9 under par through 12 holes. That's when it really started happening, knowing I only needed 2 more in the last 6 holes to shoot 59, so I'd say more after I birdied 12.
Birdie at 14, par at 15, so you come to the 16th, you're 10 under par for the round already, you know, 1 more birdie, and then obviously a couple of pars as well, and you're in with a 59, and this is the shot that you leave yourself here on 16. Talk us through it.
Yeah, so I had about 78-ish yards to the pin. All I remember though is having to land it 65 to let it release out, and I thought this was my best chance of getting it done in the last couple of holes really if I needed the birdie, and I pretty much landed it 65, went to 4 feet and rolled it in to get to 11, so it was happy days, yeah.
At this moment, obviously you've got the 59 very much in your grasp, but of course there's the tournament on the line as well. What's more on your mind as you're closing out this round, the trophy or the 59?
Yeah, 59 was in my first thoughts, and when I knocked the putt in here, I was pacing up and down the 17th tee because we had a little wait, and I just kept having alarm bells ringing of £130,000, so yeah, it was anxious moments.
18th hole, 11 under par. You're on the green in 2. In many people's minds, you've done all the hard work, but it's not quite that easy, is it? We're here about where your ball was. The pin was down there. What is going through your mind?
I had my pace control all week, really, so I kind of just said to myself, I imagine that's what I said to myself, just get the speed, and I rolled it down there to about 2 feet, and yeah, I mean, 2-footers are missable, but I know I took 2 putts, and that was that.
That's the important thing. And then a shower of champagne, all of the celebrations. What was it like in that moment after that 59th stroke has found the bottom of the hole?
Yeah, it was a pretty euphoric moment because I always know where I am.
It was an absolutely sensational round of golf, a great way to win. It's been brilliant to relive it with you, Jack.
Thanks, kid.
And this is where we left it in this year's final round. Jack South just 4 behind the leader Michael Stewart, who we've just seen drop a shot at the second. Dermot McIlroy has birdied 4 in a row to sit just 1 off the lead. Nick Watson is alongside him as he plays the 3rd.
Shortest pitch into the 3rd. Be looking to get this close if he can. Just kicks off the bank a little bit. Be a little bit disappointed with that, but still got a birdie chance.
Jack South here at the 5th. In the final round last year that we were talking about, this was the start of a remarkable hat-trick. He actually birdied all of the par 3s on the front 9. Now that's a rare feat in itself.
He'll be doing well to birdie this one, but last round last year and his first round this year, 120 shots. Think about that for a minute.
Yeah, absolutely staggering stuff. Wasn't able to keep it going in round 2, but he'd done so well with that opening 61 that even with a 71 the next day, he still came into today with a chance. Good shot there from Robinson Thompson.
Stewart second on the 3rd. Got it very close to the green with his tee shot. And that could open his birdie account for the day. And South on the 5th, getting a free drop. Looks like it's from a sprinkler head, officiated by Dave Rishworth from the PGA rules panel there. Efficient as ever.
Yeah, you might also have noticed Craig Lorry, Paul's son, caddying for his cousin Sean. Now Nick Watson Chance of a birdie, which will be his first of the day. Well, he knew some way out, and that's not finished yet.
South for his birdie on 5. Long putt across the green, a little bit uphill. Touch of right to left, he hopes. Oh, can see why he scores so well on the par 3s, can't you?
Michael Stewart, his first move of the final round was in the wrong direction at the second, but he can make up for it immediately here. Oh, and that's going to feel very good. So he's back to where he started the day.
That's that bounce back ability stat they like in the States, isn't it? South for his par on the 5th, just tapping in. Playing with Josh McMahon and Sean Laurie today. And here's Watson, hopefully to tidy up on 3 for his par.
Yep, 3 of those now with which to start. A very big round for him. We saw Robinson Thompson pretty much guarantee himself a birdie. Job done. Now let's hear from Charles Durney of the PGA Rules panel.
Charles, thank you so much for joining us. You are from the PGA and you're going to explain a little bit about the Stimp meter here.
Yeah, well, this is what we do most mornings when we're setting the course up. We use this piece of kit here, which I'm sure most golfers have heard of, a Stimp meter. I wouldn't imagine too many of them have actually seen it in operation. It's a pretty accurately made piece of kit. The angle here is known. There's a little slot here for the golf ball, and then the ball will slide perfectly down the tube. It's very accurate. So if I do this properly, the ball is going to leave the Stimp meter at a known velocity, because we know that we can check the green speed. Now I need to lift this very carefully because I don't want to increase the force of the ball coming out of its slot. There we go. Use 3 balls just so I can get a good average. Slice that one a little bit, but it's okay.
There we go.
Okay.
So what are they running at this week?
Well, they're running at just over 9. Okay. I would come back the other way just to check that this bit is level, because obviously slopes have a huge effect on the speed of a putt, and we're quite happy with just over 9, to be honest. This is an exposed links course. There's a lot of greens high up. We've got pretty high winds forecast today, so the speed at just over 9 we would describe as medium speed, but for these conditions on a windy links course, that's just about perfect.
Thank you so much for that. It's very interesting. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thanks.
All pars so far for Nick Watson to stay 11 under. Rachel is catching up with him at the 4th.
Nick Watson, 3 very solid pars. How's it going?
Yeah, very solid at the minute. Fairways and greens, it was kind of my plan from the beginning. Especially with the wind, it's not quite as strong as what we thought it was going to be, but it's still a little bit of a test out there, really.
Now, Dermot McIlroy's run of birdies has come to an end. He didn't quite manage to make it 5 in a row. He parred the long 6th. We saw Charles Durney there, Ash, and he was involved in one of the quirkier incidents in Ryder Cup history back in 2006.
Absolutely, Ryder Cup at the K Club. He was refereeing the singles match with Tiger Woods when his caddy Stevie Williams dropped his 9-iron into the drink. Very, very experienced referee is Charles Durney.
Now, Jack Hawksby birdied the 3rd, all the rest pars so far today. We return to McIlroy, looking to make it 5 birdies in the last 6.
Oh, these are so lovely.
You're disappointed with that effort. Not the sort of stroke you expect from someone who has every reason to be confident with the way he's played today. Now, another Irishman, last week's winner, Stuart Grehan. He's bound to be full of belief.
He must be exhausted after that playoff last week. 7 holes of it. Not his greatest effort there. Obvious frustration.
after the way Jack South won here last year, we all thought he might kick on this season on the EuroPro, and he's not struggled by any means, but hasn't really lived up to the billing. Couple of good finishes recently though, 3rd at Mannings Heath, 5th at Clandy
Good tee shot there, 180 yards the 7th is playing today. It's probably at about a 7-iron in there.
Chance to get within 3 of the lead. Good week for Hawkesby last week at Spey Valley, top 10 finish.
Sneaky little pin position on the 8th, tucked right in on the left-hand side, bringing that little bunker into play. Can the par 3 expert do it again? Yes, he can.
Yeah, we were saying he conquered the short holes quite spectacularly in that incredible front 9 of 27 last year. On the way to that 59, Stuart Grehan stays at 6 under. Well, the news on Michael Stewart is that since we saw him birdie the 3rd, he's had 3 straight pars, but he's now joined at the top by Nick Watson after he birdied the 4th and 5th, followed by par on 6. McIlroy's just parred the 8th hole, so he's 2 behind our joint leaders. Let's hear from him talking to Rachel.
Dermot, we're talking again.
Yes, we are indeed.
You are Mr. Consistent this year. How's today going?
Yeah, I'm playing well, tee to green. Got off to a quick start. Par, now four birdies in a row. Had a really good chance in 6 to par 5 and just missed it. And then the next 2 holes had really good chances and just missed it. So playing well, tee to green, but yeah, just not really, nothing's really dropped.
That means there's one coming, there's one due.
Yeah, no, I need a couple looking at the scores, but no, I'm playing well, so I'm quite happy.
Watson at the 7th, which has played the easiest of the short holes over the first couple of rounds.
Driving that one in low under the wind by the look of it. It's a really penetrating ball flight, doesn't it? He may well have been an 8-iron there. That's too much, just out the back.
McIlroy has been a winner on the EuroPro this season at Belton Woods, following up from his win at Luton Hoo just over a year ago.
Dermo, that's why you don't have fades.
He's doing his own commentary today.
I think we'll leave him to that. Seven-iron for Stewart at the 7th. Seemed to like the look of it, but no, he too, he's just turned it over, adds a little bit of length, just rolls out the back next to Watson.
Watson and Stewart both just run through the green here on the par 3 7th. They've got very similar shots. It will be Stewart to go first, so Watson can learn from that. But a bit of a decision to be made, because if you just come with me, you can see there's a real little ridge and bank that feeds in off this left-hand side. It's very close to where the players are going to want to land it. It's a case of the further you land it left, the more it's going to kick to the right. Those lies a little bit scrubby over the back there, so they might want to take the loft off. And of course, the more the ball is on the ground, the more it's going to break. And it gets slippery down around that hole as well.
We'll get back to them in a moment. It's such a good year for McIlroy. Looks pretty much as though he's going to get one of those Challenge Tour cards, but could still do with one more good result. He's on course for it today.
Let's just say he wasn't particularly pleased with that shot.
Stewart will be very pleased with this one, though. And Michael Stewart gets his 2nd birdie of the day and is now in red figures for his final round. Just what you need to take a bit of the tension out of it when you're leading a tournament looking for that first win.
Looking very calm, but he will be buzzing inside after that. Callum Farr for his birdie on the 9th. Flag right at the back. That's a great 2.
Yeah, back playing well again. Missed 6 cuts in a row before a good showing at Clandy just outside the top 20. Now Watson, what would he give to follow Stewart in and join him at 14 under?
See that kick right as soon as it landed. Not too bad. Should be able to roll that in for a par. Oh, McIlroy misses.
This is the problem, I suppose, when you start off so well, that when it starts going a bit wrong, it's a test of your temperament. And McIlroy's doing a lot of talking to himself at the moment. Not coming as easily now as it was a few holes ago.
64 minutes each.
Running a little bit hot, I think, is the term. See if he can calm himself down and get going again on the back nine. Well done, Watson. Up and down for par.
So as we've said, for the first time, Stewart is now under par for today's round after that chip in on 7 and back into the outright lead by 1 over Watson. Now, Eagle Orchid are here once again as sponsors of this Scottish Masters. We've been talking with their chief executive, Neil Armour.
Today is we're here supporting young people trying to chase the dream in the world of golf. I think it's important. We've all in our various walks of life had a bit of a hand along the way. Many of us very lucky in that regard, so if we can do our small bit to help support the tour, which is giving young folk the chance to chase a dream, hopefully the start of a long and successful career in the game of golf, then we are absolutely delighted to be doing it. I think this is our 10th year, and very happy, very proud to be sponsors supporting the PGA EuroPro Tour.
Michael Stewart out on his own once again at the top in the Eagle Orchid Scottish Masters.
Hello and welcome back to Leven for the Eagle Orchid Scottish Masters. A field of 145 started out on day one of whom was our very own Simon Dyson. Sadly, he didn't make the cut, but did give us a personal insight just to how this course plays.
Around the turn, we've got a couple of short but quite tricky par 4s, 8 and 10. We've got 8 behind us, Simon. What makes this such an interesting hole?
I think it's how narrow it is off the tee. You know, you're looking to get it about 230, 240 off the tee. There's a bunker at about 215 down the left, but as you can see, there's out of bounds just to the right of the fairway. So you've almost got to kind of get it going down that right side to hit the fairway. So can catch a lot of players out, I think.
And adjacent as well, just over to our left here, we've got the 10th. Similar kind of proposition, isn't it?
Yeah, I think a lot of guys are going for 10, you know, but the wind's out the left again. You've got to hug the left side. There's gorse on the left. I think the longer hitters will be able to kind of turn a 3-wood and hold that wind. But the guys having to hit drivers, the wind's taking it, and then the fairway slopes left to right. You've got bunker and gorse down the right. So, yeah, it's worth going for, but you've got to be aware of the danger as well, same as 8.
Interesting decisions to be made around the turn.
Well, Simon has been a winner on the most famous Scottish links of all at St Andrews, back in his days on the European Tour. But who's going to be the champion here at Leven links today? In his homeland, Michael Stewart is best placed, coming towards the turn, leading by 1 from Nick Watson of England. After a fine chip-in from Stewart for birdie at the 7th, he's now talking to Rachel at the next hole.
Mr. Stewart,
Yep.
on 7, what a chip-in.
Yeah, just one of those ones where a little bit of luck's involved, obviously. I feel like I've not really hit a bad shot, and I've missed kind of 3 greens right where my targets have been. And yeah, it's just going to. I think it's just going to be one of those days where I'm going to have to rely on staying patient a lot, because I don't feel like I've hit a bad shot yet. I've just kind of pured a couple of shots through the wind and got the wind wrong a couple of times. So yeah.
And the conditions are different to yesterday. It's definitely swirling out here.
It is,
as you say, you haven't hit bad shots, but you have made some unbelievable up and downs.
Yep.
How important are they for your momentum?
Yeah, it seems as well like when I missed the green, the lie's been quite tricky as well. So
I know, I saw that one on the last.
Yeah, need to stay. Yeah, like I say, just need to stay patient. That's like a steal against the head, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, nice for that to go in, but there's so much golf left to play.
Yeah, we've got to remember Nick Watson has made a good start to this round, so still just 1 in it. Now McIlroy not out of contention. Oh, but that's gone very much awry. I think that's headed off into the gorse. Somewhere that direction anyway, somehow.
Stewart's second shot on 8. He's actually on the fairway, but he's behind the hillocks. Can't see too much. And that is a great shot.
Callum Farr made a very good start to the year. Top 10 in the very first tournament at Harleyford. Been a bit up and down since then. More down than up, I think you'd have to say, in fairness, but having a very good week, and that's a fine shot. Great chance for birdie at 11.
Now let's see where McIlroy finished up. I'm not quite sure how he finished there, but he's given himself a chance for par in unlikely circumstances.
It's become a very different day for him, having to battle now after everything was so fluent early on. Now Stewart, we saw an excellent shot from him. This to get to 15 under, back-to-back birdies.
Excellent birdie that. Such a tight little second shot he had there.
Now, we've been talking a little bit about McIlroy chatting to himself and his temperament going a little. This is a test of it. This for par. Oh, and that's not going to improve his mood at all.
Okay, right of the 10th hole. Jack South taking a free drop there. There's some animal holes and scrapes and digs there. I think that's what he was getting relief from. It's very easy for the balls to kick right on 10 and end up in there. Oh.
He and McIlroy will both want to forget the events of the last few moments. Back to South, out in 33. 1 under for the front 9.
Tricky little second shot. Very easy to get a big kick off the downslope just short of the green. Which he got a little bit, but not too bad.
Had that early bogey, Stewart, but he's responded so well. 3 birdies in 6 holes since then, as he comes to the end of his front 9.
Testing tee shot with the flag right at the back here, and he's just rolled off down towards the 10th tee. All depends on the lie. Quick look at Stewart's swing in slow motion here. Very unrushed tempo. Good lines, not too much that goes wrong with that.
Jack South came into this week 25th in the order of merit, so he can still get one of those Challenge Tour cards. A win today would transform his situation entirely, but he's finding it hard to keep up with the pace, and he's going to need to produce some of that final round magic he showed here last year, if that dream is to stay alive today.
Nick Watson trying to put the pressure on, but looks like he's lost this one left.
Been a great day so far for Robinson Thompson. Couple of early bogeys. Did have a birdie in there as well at the 3rd. 4 pars in a row now. Needs to start making something happen, and that's not what he had in mind at all.
Looks like we've got a chipping contest coming up now. Difficult little shot to play up and over the bank there. Let's see how they cope. South hopefully tapping in for his par on 10.
Duly does to stay at 9 under as we go back to the previous hole with our leaders.
All 3 players in our final group have fallen foul of the right to left wind here on the par 3 9th, and they've come down to this side and they've got a really tricky shot now. Michael Stewart's ball here has got the worst lie of the 3, a little bit juicier rough, and he's playing off of a slight downslope, and he's got to come up this slope. It's a lot steeper than it looks on camera. You got a little bit of a hump here, and then it's all downhill left to right so quick, not a lot of green to work with. All they can do is bump it into this bank and really hope for the best.
So Robinson Thompson, so many of these players focused on the win today. For him, maybe a bit less so, because he knows a 2nd or a 3rd could take him to the brink of clinching one of those Challenge Tour cards. He should get his par there to finish what's been a disappointing front 9. Tell us about the 12th, Ash.
all-out attack on the 12th. It's playing the easiest hole on the golf course. You've got the 6th fairway left if you need to use it. Getting a drive down 300 odd yards leaves you about 160 to the front. The pin today is 23 yards on, 9 left, so it's up at the back, so you just need to be aware of the mile dike behind the green.
Only 2 par 5s here. This is the second of them.
Yep, and Leven has 2 par 5s and 4 par 3s for a par of 70. It's a good test. Eagle chance there for McIlroy. Now Watson choosing to putt up the bank on 9. He's got a decent lie there. That looks pretty good. Yep, similar to Robinson Thompson. Stewart's going to have to chip with his lie. Here it comes. They've all got fairly short putts for pars. Let's see what they can make of them.
Going back to what we were saying, you see this a lot on these old courses, particularly in Scotland. Not many long holes. The old course at St Andrews only has 2 par 5s. Maybe they didn't have as much land to work with back in the day. Anyway, here is Farr playing the second of the long holes here, the 12th.
Now Watson to save par on 9. Keep the pressure on. Oh, he's just left it high. A little bit too much pace, I think, in that one.
So back to Farr and putting for eagle from just off the green.
Long old putt with the flag right at the back there. He's judged the pace very well there.
Yeah, he'll be more than happy with that. Should be birdie. Now this is a little tester for Stewart. And that's good work. Front 9 of 32. He'll be more than happy with that.
Yeah, there's a fair bit of swing on that putt. Had to get the line and the pace absolutely right, but he took care of it very, very confidently there.
Jack South has played every event on the EuroPro Tour this season. 3 times in the top 10.
And another one slightly downhill, right to left. Beautifully done. If not a putt that short, he had to start it off outside the hole.
Tee shot really got away from him, but he's recovered the situation nicely. Now McIlroy, seen his mood change over the last half hour to an hour. Could turn it back the other way a bit here, but he's left another one short.
I get a bit more commentary from him now.
It's like having a bonus on-course reporter. I'm surprised to see this. He's normally very calm, laid-back kind of character. Comes across that way anyway, and not much sign of it today.
That looked like it wanted to stay out for a second, but bogey for Watson. And Farr for his birdie on 12. Got to feel it's almost a must to make birdie on 12. It's playing well under its par for the week. And he obliges. Tee shot on 10 for Stewart. This is an awkward tee shot. Humps and hollows in the fairways. The ball can easily kick right or left. The hogs back in the middle of the fairway. It's just gone with the iron there.
It's another feature of these old Scottish courses, isn't it? They're right in the town. They've got houses all around them. Wonderful sight.
Yeah, it's a great venue. I love being here.
Jack South loving being here. A bit less than 12 months ago. Not quite happening for him today. Stewart just looks so much in control of his game today, Ash, and you don't always see that with someone looking for their first win.
No, he seems to be controlling himself very nicely. Just going in with probably a 58-degree wedge there. Sets up another chance. And South hopefully tapping in for par. Yeah, well done.
And all of a sudden, Stewart has a chance to go 4 clear.
Yeah, very good chance as well. Always just staying high. I think he hit that exactly where he wanted to, just slightly misread it. Looked like a really good roll. Middle of the fairway, middle of the green, that's what he needs now. Let the others come looking for him.
Still been a decent few minutes for Stewart though, because Watson's slip up at the 9th means the gap has now grown to 3 shots, where it remains after Watson started for home with par on 10. A few others may still feel they can win this, but they're going to need some help from Michael Stewart.
Here is the aforementioned Stewart on 11. Fairly long way back, but still only going in with a wedge. And not sure where that's gone.
I think it's gone into the bunker on the right. Now Ronan Mullarney. It's been a strong year for Irish players in the EuroPro.
Absolutely. Mullarney qualified for the Open this year at St Andrews. Had to go through regional qualifying and final qualifying. He shot a respectable 73 and 78 in the Open itself. Great experience for him.
Yeah, he had the same score as a former Open champion Paul Lawrie over the 2 rounds, and actually finished better off than 4 past winners of the Claret Jug.
He'll be looking to get that putt in for par. He really doesn't want to open the door to the chasing pack. Mullarney's second shot into 12. Compact backswing. Drives it forward. And right into the heart of the green. What a shot that is.
And what a chance to make an eagle and get himself right into the frame here.
You can't help but think this is a really important part in the context of the tournament for Stewart. And he's tugged it. And he's opened that door a little bit. And he knows it.
Well, wedge in hand going into the bunker. Real disappointment for him.
Been so solid so far in the round, apart from that little slip up earlier on. Quite surprising.
And that was very solid from Ronan Mullarney. Great shot in. He's taken full advantage. No wonder he's bouncing off that green with a big smile on his face. Stewart tidies up, but that was a bad bogey to make from where he was. And it certainly improves the title prospects of quite a few players who may still fancy their chances here, not least Ronan Mullarney, who just moments ago was 6 off the lead, but in almost no time at all has seen that cut in half. The Irishman has vaulted into 3rd place on his own. Mullarney's eagle at the 12th could be a huge moment as we head into the closing stretch at Leven Links. Welcome back to the Eagle Orchid Scottish Masters at Leven Links, where the wind is cutting in from the Largo Bay. And it's a Scottish player out in front because with 7 to go, Michael Stewart leads by 2 shots from England's Nick Watson. Irish challenger Ronan Mullarney has leaped right into the picture with his eagle at the 12th, and even the trio at 10 under won't be writing off their title hopes just yet. And here's one of them, BRT.
Tee shot on 12, all out attack. Got that 6th fairway down the left hand side if they need to use it, but that looks to be in prime position. And we'll just skip a couple of holes forward and have a look at the 14th, 365 yard par 4. The gorse and the bunker on the right hand side kick in at about 300 yards, so most players are going to play a long iron short of them. Still a fairly short shot in, but there's a very tucked front left flag today, which is going to prove tricky to some of these guys.
Dermot McIlroy's been runner-up on the EuroPro 3 times this season, in addition to that win he had. Wasn't much he could do at Abridge. Pavan Sagu was sublime that week, but the other 2, he went pretty close in.
Stewart on 12. Going to be hoping to right the ship straight away with a birdie down here. It's very guessable par 5. Can't quite see that one yet. As long as it gets past that bunker, that is in excellent shape. No problems there.
Yeah, looking to respond to fairly clumsy bogey, I think you'd have to say, at the previous hole.
McIlroy for his birdie on 14. It's a decent approach in there. Got a real good look at it. Just left it a little bit on the high side.
He's been leaving them short in recent holes, so at least he gave that one more of a chance.
Frustration showing there. What has he got to do to make the ball drop? Maybe he'll find the answer in the last few holes.
Such a talented player. He's going to be 30 next year, getting to that point where he'll know he's got to start stepping up a level.
Okay, here we go. Stewart, second shot on 12. Wants it to go. Oh, he wanted a huge bounce and it absolutely died in the upslope.
Sean Lowry, been an up and down day for him so far. 3 birdies, 3 bogeys, so he's where he started at 7 under.
See that front flag, just protected by the downslope. If you just go safe on the right hand side, there's a downslope that kicks it forward. Tricky little pin, that one.
We know Dermot McIlroy is one of those players who can put on a nice burst. He had one earlier today with those 4 birdies in a row. He's going to need something similar here, you would think. But what's happened to that one?
I think it rolled down somewhere towards the next tee.
Nobody played the par 5s better over the first 2 rounds than Brandon Robinson-Thompson. He's playing this one pretty well too.
That is a very short eagle putt. Great shot in.
That can get him to just 2 behind.
What a chip that was. Great spin control there. Milani on 13. A bit of trouble here. Out of that line, that's probably as good as he could have done. And Stewart, fairly straightforward chip up the green. Yeah, it's done very well. Short birdie putt left.
I think if there was a trophy on offer for the up and down of the week, this would be in contention. Looked to be in trouble there, but McIlroy has saved the day very nicely. Stays 10 under. Lowry, another of those players in the bracket looking to get into the Tour Championship. 76th in the order of merit coming into this week. And that'll help.
That'll help a lot. Lovely 3 on 14 there.
Been a bit of a quiet day for Robinson-Thompson, but he can make a big noise with this. Oh, so frustrating. Would have gotten back to only 2 behind. Milani did eagle the 12th, but in danger of giving one of those shots straight back.
And indeed he has. 13 is the toughest hole on the golf course this week. It might be slightly downwind, but it is still quite a tough prospect and a very, very challenging pin position today.
Can take a firm grip on things here again, Stewart. He's played this hole in textbook fashion. Oh, but nothing textbook about that.
That was left straight off the bat, as they say. His mind is going to be a little bit scrambled here. He has to regroup quickly.
But with Nick Watson also only making par at the long 12th, the 5 is good enough for Stewart to hold on to his 2-stroke advantage. Maloney's eagle on 12, followed by that drop shot at the next hole. He's going to need a spectacular finish now.
Leven Links is a golf course with rich history. The sport has been played on this turf for over 170 years. I've been catching up with Golf Operations Manager Chris Galloway to find out a bit more about this wonderful place.
So golf has been played here since 1846 on this course, although golf in Leven's been played here since 1820. The original layout here at Leven used to be 9 holes out, 9 holes back. And was assigned to both Leven and London Links. But in 1906, we took this side off the golf course on, and golf has been played here ever since.
And you've got the 2 clubs based here at the moment. What's the relationship and how that's evolved?
Yeah, so we've got 2 golf clubs attached to Leven Links, Leven Thistle Golf Club and Leven Golfing Society, of which, added together, they've both got about 400 years of history. And some good history between the clubs as well. So Leven Golfing Society play for the oldest amateur stroke play event in the world, and Leven Thistle hosts every year the oldest amateur team event in the world. So lots of history between the 2 clubs.
Plenty of illustrious winners around here as well. Who are people might have heard of have come to Leven Links and left with a trophy?
Yes, so probably the most famous one we've had is Lee Westwood, winner of the amateur gold medal here. But lots and lots of people have played here. I was lucky enough to watch Mark McNulty shoot 62 round here one year in open qualifying, which was just a joy to watch.
How much pride do all of the members and locals take in this golf course and its history?
Yeah, lots. I think last year when we hosted EuroPro for the first time, it was the first time we'd staged a big event since open qualifying. And the members were so proud to have it, and I think the fact that Jack shooting 59 last year, and it went out globally after that 59 was shot, so the members are very proud of what we've achieved here.
13th hole at Leven, playing toughest hole on the course this week. 305 yards to get past that bunker on the left, heavily undulating fairway. They get the driveway reasonably short shot, but a very evil tuck pin on the right hand side.
Good point Chris was making there. We hear about rounds in the 50s from various tours around the world, but not many of them are actually televised, so Jack South's effort here last year did get a lot of attention.
Watson into 13, you can see that pin position there, tucked on a little ridge, everything else kicks away left.
Now Maloney was going along nice and quietly until he suddenly thrust himself into the picture with that eagle at the 12th. Looking to respond well though to having dropped one on 13. And that's his second shot, so he'll have that for birdie as we return to Laurie.
Tee shot on 15. Flag way back in the green here and quite tight to the right hand side. You miss it right, you've got nothing to work with. Looked like he came up short right there, so a lot of work to do to make his 3 there.
We saw Watson's approach to 13. He has since missed his birdie putt.
Oh, just caught enough of the right hand side there. Look at relief on his face from that one.
It's a par for Watson. Hardest hole on the course this week.
Decent effort from Maloney there. See the ball drifts to the right from the back of that green. And this will take some imagination. Lands it just on the green, way off to the left. And let the ridges and contours swing it round. This looks really good from Laurie.
He was tied second in the Eagle Orchid Scottish Masters last year when it was played at Montrose Links, 3 behind Will Enifer. Second time he'd been runner-up on the EuroPro.
Maloney tidying up on 14. Nicely done. Needs a strong finish now though. And can Watson seek out this front left flag on 14? Tough to get at, but he's coming in from an ideal position. And that's the best we've seen so far.
Also did well in this tournament last year when it was at Montrose, finished in a share of 6th, his best result of 2021.
McIlroy gives himself another birdie chance on 16.
It's be a good par from where he was.
Yeah, I reckon that's a contender for up and down of the week that we've seen so far.
You're going to see spectacular ones always on an old links course like this. As you said, a bit of imagination required.
Yeah, we need a good imagination on these greens and these courses. Bomb it and stick it in the middle of the green doesn't work around a links course.
Leven Links famous as an open final qualifying venue over the years, and back in the 90s you played right next door, didn't you, at London Links in qualifying for the championship?
Yep, 1995. I remember standing on the par 3 at London, which borders the course, just separated by the Mile Dyke. And a friend of mine was on the 5th at Leven, and we had a little chat. And he hit his into the middle of the green, and I hit it somewhere probably into Leven Links.
Sums up this prime golfing country, doesn't it? Just courses everywhere, bordering each other. We saw McIlroy there go to 11 under. Stewart from further away, not quite able to get his birdie, but with only 4 holes to go, staying solid like this may well be enough to get the job done. This man, though, would have other ideas. He now has the door open to him to get back within 1.
And he barges straight through that door.
So he cuts his deficit in half. Stewart may still need to find something more before the finish. McIlroy's birdie on 16, timely to say the least. He may require a couple more to retain a chance of winning on the EuroPro for the 2nd time this season. So with 4 to play, it's Michael Stewart out in front, just over Nick Watson. Welcome back to the final round at Leven Links, where Michael Stewart's long quest to win on the EuroPro Tour could come to an end today, because with just 4 holes left, he leads by a single stroke over England's Nick Watson. Irish pair Dermot McIlroy and Ronan Mullarney still just hanging on to contention themselves.
We come to the 15th last of the par 3s, playing 191 yards today. The long green is 45 yards long, and the flag today will be 30 on and just 5 from the right-hand side, so all about positioning that tee shot.
So Mullarney 4 behind. Stewart looking fairly solid at the moment, but as we always say, those last couple of holes, when you're trying to get across the line for the first time, all sorts of things can happen. So no reason to give up hope.
Just running off the back left side of the green there, but fairly simple up and down for par.
Jack South, another look at him on 16. Remarkable thing about that 59 last year was he had done all the work by the time he walked off this green. He only needed 2 pars to finish.
Mullarney, longish putt on 15. It's uphill. And a little bit short. Yeah, the wind getting up now.
Mullarney very highly rated in Ireland, winner of the Irish Amateur Closed Championship at Ballybunion 3 years ago. And that was Sean Laurie as we go back to McIlroy. 2 birdies to finish, you never know.
Tricky hole 17. Laid back, coming in with quite a long club. Just a little bit long with his second shot. A swinging putt from right to left. Mullarney trying to tidy up for his 3 on 15. Oh, frustration, and I think that probably signals the end of his hopes.
I would think so. 2 bogeys in the last 3 now, so he's given back the shots he picked up with that eagle on 12. Needs to keep his focus. Looking to get into the Tour Championship. Every stroke could make a big, big difference in that respect.
Jack South third on 16. He found the bunker up the right-hand side. Very different to how he played the whole last year. Can he get a 4? Just running on a little bit. Good defence of his title, though, I think.
McIlroy has missed his birdie putt on 17. Callum Farr with his attempt. Callum Farr finishes far from the hole.
Sean Lowry looking to birdie 16. And you can see another pin that's been tucked in round behind a bunker. And again, a little bit shy. Should be a straightforward 4.
Watson has contended on this tour before, all the way back in 2017 at Longhurst Hall. He was tied for the lead overnight. Final round 74, missed out in a playoff by just a single shot.
It's in Sean Lowry territory. See if he can produce the same kind of magic.
I always feel when you know you've not made a good job of the birdie putt, it adds a little more pressure to the par attempt. Just trickles in.
There's quite a bit of turn on that putt. Quite severely uphill. Remember last year, pin was in a similar position and Jack South played a very sensible shot but had a really long putt and left himself with about 9 foot, which he managed to hole.
Huge moments for Michael Stewart. He's been a EuroPro regular every year since 2015. He's finished second 4 times. 3 of them this year, 2 of those in playoffs. He can cast aside all that unfortunate history today. And that one will do just fine.
Yeah, good tee shot. It's a very narrow part of the green that flag situated in, so that was a very accurate shot. Back to Jack South for par on 16. Yeah, well done. Good scramble, that one.
Is there anything around here to commemorate the 59? Any little plaque or anything? Or even a scorecard up in the clubhouse? I've not noticed anything.
I've not seen anything. He did do a scorecard, so I've probably missed it, because I'm not the most observant. And that shows you how long the 15th green is.
Again, it's a feature of these old Scottish courses. You sometimes see these really long putts of the Scottish contingent. Stays at 8 under. Let's go to Kit on 15.
Watson's got a bit of a wall of death to contend with here. There's a big slope from left to right in front of him that runs about halfway between here and the pin. He's got 2 options. The first one, slightly riskier. Does he flop it, take that slope out of play and carry it most of the way? But we're on a links course, so more often than not, you go for the lower option. If he does do that, he's going to have to be really precise about where he lands it, what kind of bounce that's going to give him, and then where it's going to release down to the pin. He's got a decision to make here.
Well, he's gone for the ground route, because that is putter. So he's picked his line. Bobbling and bouncing a little bit to start with. Oh, he's done a great job there. Just as Kit described. Hole 16, dogleg right to left. The guys will attack this with driver, most of them, and then they'll go in with a short club. Fairly straightforward green, bunkers dotted around, and the Scooney burn protecting anything that goes long.
Mentioned Scooney there. I played there the morning after Padraig Harrington won the Open for the first time at Carnoustie in 07. Fair to say, we were playing on the back of a late night. A lovely little course in itself. Well, Arnie probably not going to win today, but set for his best EuroPro finish, which up until now has been 12th at Donington Grove earlier this season.
Huge long putt from Robinson Thompson. Difficult to get the pace right when you're coming from that kind of distance, but he's judged that remarkably well. Very good putt, that. Milani for his birdie on 16. Mark Young watching on, previous EuroPro Tour winner. Oh, that must have looked for all the world to him like that was going in. He can't believe it.
Just turned 27, Ronan Milani. He's played a few Challenge Tour events, some good form on the Alps Tour as well, so well travelled already at an early stage in his pro career.
Stewart for his birdie on the 15th. Has he given it enough? I don't think he has. No, not quite. Par should be forthcoming. And indeed it is.
Will it be for BRT as well? Yep, he also gets his par. Stays at 9 under.
And to complete a trio of threes, hopefully. Well done. It's a good score. 3 on 15 today with the wind and pin position and everything.
Yeah, and that keeps Watson right on Stewart's shoulder after pars for both at the short 15th. McIlroy needs miracles all round at this stage, while in terms of winning, Milani's race looks to be run, but as we were saying, it's all about finishing as high as you possibly can. He's currently in a three-way tie for 4th.
17th hole. Decisions to be made off the tee. A long iron to leave yourself about 180, or a driver into the narrow part of the fairway to leave yourself more of a wedge. It's playing the second most difficult hole behind 13th this week, and a flag up on the left-hand side to a very slopey green.
This is where Sean Laurie has driven to. Been a miserable run for him recently. He had 4 missed cuts in a row, and then 60th at Spey Valley last week, which was effectively a missed cut because they only played the 2 rounds. Just off the edge of the green there. The final group will be coming to that hole shortly. They're back on 16, and this is where Watson is.
Oh, that is a bit thin. And the Scooney Burn, I think, has claimed a victim. It's more famous for protecting the front of the 18th green, but I think it's claimed a victim behind 16 there. That could be huge.
Oh, quite definitely. It has all the look of a moment we'll be talking about at the end of all this, if he doesn't win it from here. Now McIlroy, probably playing for second now. His chances of getting it may have just improved with what's happened to Watson.
Robinson Thompson, second shot into 16. Just a wedge. It's just rolled off the back of the green. Not too bad.
3rd in the order of merit coming into this week. But he isn't guaranteed his Challenge Tour card yet. He may still need to do something after this week. Jack South would have had big hopes today. If he could get that win, he'd get himself in the running for one of those top 5 spots.
Looked like he caught that one a little bit heavy.
Yeah, very much so. 59 in the final round last year, a distant memory, but even the 61 that he started with here a couple of days ago must feel like some time ago now.
Callum Farr down the 18th. A lot of players choosing to hit it left towards the first fairway down 18. It's very wide.
So Stewart will have been encouraged if he's seen what's happened to Watson there.
Must be quite tough to keep your mind on your own game in these circumstances. That's a good little shot down there, give himself a good opportunity for birdie.
Now this is Jack South, and I'm afraid it's all gone south. Double bogey on 16, and he's run into trouble here at the next hole as well. So he's got to get up and down to avoid making it 2 double bogeys in a row.
You can see how that green slopes from left to right as the player looks. It will give him an uphill putt. They'll have a bit of swing on it as well. And back to 16. Nick Watson in the red penalty area there. He'd be able to get 2 club lengths drop, not nearer the hole, which is what he's done. But he's got to get up and down for 5 now. And it could all be unravelling here.
McIlroy looking for a big finish. As we've said, it could get him second place. Not quite what he had in mind.
That's an enormous green 18, isn't it? Okay, here we go. Pretty well done there. Got a chance of a 5. He has to hold that, surely.
A much better shot than it might have looked, and it was a real test of nerve, and having just had such a setback on the previous shot, he composed himself nicely. Here's Laurie.
You can see the swing. It's just overdone it a little bit for pace. See, the idea was there, just overcooked it a touch. Penny for the thoughts of Michael Stewart right now. If he rolls that in, you've got to think it's nearly done. But don't get ahead of yourself.
Callum Farr's best finish on the EuroPro has been a share of 8th at Clandyboy last year. Looks like he's going to improve on that today.
That's a very good shot out of quite an awkward lie down the right-hand side of 18 there.
So Stewart knows that his main challenger is going to drop at least 1 here. He could not quite close the door, but certainly make a big move towards victory. But that wasn't a great putt, you have to say, and I wonder, was he maybe in the back of his mind thinking, nearly 2 putts is what I need to prioritise?
Maybe caught in 2 minds there with being aggressive and making sure he doesn't do anything silly.
Overall, let's put it this way, 16 is going to be a good hole for him in the context of that duel. Let's return to Laurie. Good to see him playing well again this week after a bad run of late.
Watson for bogey, trying to limit the damage. Oh, and that was a poor putt. Never got that one online.
And that's just horrible, isn't it? 2 shots gone, back to 11 under. And that means McIlroy can overtake him if he can produce the grandstand finish here.
Long putt, downhill. I think he goes a little bit left to right from where he is. Just a little bit shy, but good 2 putt from up there.
Just hasn't got going today, Robinson Thompson. Back-to-back bogeys at 13 and 14, but he steadied it with a couple of pars since. You mentioned damage limitation a moment ago. Ash South very much in that territory as well here.
Yeah, very similar to the putt he held last year, but probably symptomatic of his last 2 rounds. That's a poor finish from Jack. He will be disappointed, but overall a good defence of his title. Not quite dead this one. There's a little bit of swing on it, but he should be able to take care of business here.
I think if you ever wanted a moment to sum up the expression what a difference a year makes, the last couple of holes would serve very well in the case of Jack South.
Callum Farr for a closing birdie. It's been a good week for him overall. I think that's just going to stay outright, is it? Oh, and short. Members looking on. They've enjoyed what they've seen today. And Callum finish off business. Well done.
Flying start today with 2 birdies in the first 5, out in 32, and then 4 on every single hole coming back. 68 for Callum Farr. He's heading for a top 5 finish on the EuroPro for the first time. Bogey for Sean Laurie there. 17, he goes back to 7 under.
McIlroy to tidy up.
Well, he made everyone take notice with that run of 4 birdies in a row early on, but a couple of shots went around the turn, and although he recovered both of them, 66 almost certainly won't be good enough. Still yet another really good week and a stellar year for McIlroy. Callum Farr joins Jack Hawkesby in on 9 under. Robinson, Thompson and Mallarney also on that score, but still with a couple of holes left to improve their positions. 2 shots gone at 16 for Nick Watson, but he can still catch Michael Stewart. The finish is next. It's the final round of the Eagle Orchid Scottish Masters at Leven Links, where Michael Stewart is tantalisingly close to his first EuroPro Tour win. 5 pars in a row leave the Scot on 14 under par. England's Nick Watson back on 11 after dropping 2 at 16.
Closing hole here at Leven Links. This is where it's all going to be decided. Simon, great hole. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, great finishing hole, to be honest. You've got the 18th fairway is obviously just down the right hand side here, but it's really narrow. And then you've got a big mound with bunkers from the first, but then you've got the first fairway. So I think you'll see a lot of guys just hitting it left. Gives them then quite a straight shot up the green. But I think this is such a really well designed green because the front of the green's raised and then you can see the boards from the water. So every single pin on this green, even though it's a massive green, looks like it's tucked close to the water. So I think it's a fantastic finishing hole.
How much does psychology come into play with that second shot then? Looming with the burn in front of the green, knowing anything a little bit short and you're in serious trouble.
Yeah, I mean, it's pure commitment, isn't it? You've got to trust your numbers, trust that you see the number might be 14 on, you know there's 14 yards over the water, so you've just got to trust it, trust the shot, trust your number. But yeah, it's a really good finishing hole, but like I say, I think you'll just see loads of guys just bombing it down the first fairway.
As ever on links courses, the wind plays a massive factor. Earlier in the week in practice, there were some guys hitting woods into this. You can hit as little as an 8, maybe even a wedge if you get the wind helping and really bust one down there. Knowing in your mind as a player how much the wind can affect it, what does that add in terms of a layer of difficulty to the approach?
A lot, I mean, because if there's any hurt into this and you take it down the left, you're bringing all those bunkers from the first that I talked about. You know, you're looking at 280 over them, but into the wind, you're going to struggle to get over them. Whereas when it's downwind, down out the right, you can take it over. So there's definitely 2 ways to play it. And like you say, you can go in with a long iron into this hole, or you can go in with as little as a gap wedge. So it's all on wind direction, but it'll certainly add a bit of excitement to the end of the tournament.
You know how to win on the DP World Tour. You know what it's like to stand on the 18th tee with a win in your hands. What role do the emotions play?
Oh, huge. I mean, the thing is, when you're leading a tournament, you're full of confidence because you're doing well. You're not really looking at, oh, I don't want to hit it there, I don't want to hit it there. So I think when you get on the final hole, it's literally pick your spot and trust it. You've done it for 53 holes, another hole, just carry on doing exactly the same. And I think that's what they'll do come Friday.
Wind, water, links turf, so much at play here on this 18th. Who's going to conquer it and lift that trophy?
Sean Laurie has missed more cuts than he's made this season. Only got through to the 3rd round on 4 occasions. Was 6th at Studley Wood in June. Birdie here at the last would put him in something like that territory today, and he may well get it. Ronan Mallarney then at the penultimate hole.
Strange route into that penultimate hole, but effective. I think he came in from the 18th fairway there.
Sean Laurie then for that closing birdie. Oh, nice way to finish, but couldn't inject any real momentum into his final round today. All 3 rounds in the 60s though. He's heading for a top 10 finish. So this is where Mallarney has found himself.
It'd be an impressive birdie from there. It's giving it a good chance.
I've birdied out of him.
He's echoing your words, Ash.
When I saw the second shot, I couldn't actually work out where he was coming from to start with.
You can never figure out where an Irishman's coming from, Ash. Now, Nick Watson at 17. What a test for him now to recover from the events of the previous hole. Well off the green there to the left.
Milani finishing off his round. There you can see the route favoured by quite a few of the guys down the first fairway. And quite a good angle to attack the pin from there as well.
As you were saying earlier, 17 has been playing the second hardest hole on the course this week. So, yes, things can go wrong, but of course Stewart's got that cushion now, which makes it so much easier.
Yeah, it'll be a nerve setter if he can find this green, and he has done. That is absolutely what the doctor ordered. Uphill putt, pin high.
We were saying a few holes ago, if he could just stay steady all the way to the finish, it might get the job done. Let someone else make the mistake. That's what's happened to Watson.
Just losing that one left a little bit up the slope. That will be a tricky putt on that enormous green. Well, that's where Watson finished. That is miles left. That's the other side of the 16th tee. He's going to be doing well to keep this one on the green, I think. Bunkers in the way. I would say that's about as good as he could do from there.
Yeah, looked a bit deflated on the previous shot, having possibly seen his chances of victory end on the previous hole, so did well to keep his composure there. That's the distinctive figure of Joe Brooks in that pink shirt he seems to have been wearing all year. One of those rare weeks he didn't manage to sustain a challenge up to the closing holes. And his playing partner Ronan Milani has had a great summer, played in the Open as we said, and heading for a good finish today.
And we're going to see just how much this putt swings. Gathers pace as it gets to the hole. Very well judged. Milani tapping in on 18, hopefully.
Well, Eagle at 12 jumps off his scorecard, and it did put him in the running for a while, but needing a strong finish, he instead played the last 6 in 2 over. It will, however, be his best EuroPro result by far.
Now, I did get my A-level maths, and I'm pretty sure now that if Stewart can 2-putt for his par, he will have a 3-shot lead going down the last. And Watson's going to drop one there. So McIlroy will be in sole possession of second place. But all Stewart wants to do right now is get this down in 2.
Well, if it is to be the win for Stewart, as looks inevitable now, it's going to be a very popular result. He's been so consistent this year, missed the cut in the opening event, but he's made 10 in a row since coming into this week and never been below 17th in all of those events. Runner-up at Camberwell Park, at McCunness, at Spey Valley. Is it finally going to be his day?
I think it is. He's shown remarkable resilience to keep coming back and coming back after the setbacks he's had this season. And if ever a win was fully deserved, I think this one is it.
Brandon Robinson-Thompson has already had his win this year. So he stays at 9 under. Let's go to the final hole and catch up with Kit.
One more good swing for Michael Stewart, and this title and promotion to the Challenge Tour is his, and he's got 125 yards. Ball will be slightly below his feet. That'll make it go left to right. The wind, though, hard off the right. That pin, well, you don't need to be messing with it at all, the situation he's in. Aim for the centre of the green, take your par, and get yourself out of here with a nice shiny trophy and a trip to the Challenge Tour.
And Stewart with Dad Andrew on his bag, who's a very good golfer himself, plays off +2. And tomorrow, Michael will be caddying for Andrew at the Club Championship final. And good luck to him.
Nick Watson just left of the fairway here, but it gives him a great angle into the pin, which is tucked way over on the right, 158 yards away. He's going to be playing off of a bit of a downslope. That's going to want to make the ball come out a lot lower. He's got quite a low, boring ball flight anyway, really helpful in these windy conditions. And the wind right now, it's helping slightly, but most of all, it's left to right. That is going to help him work it into that right-hand pin position.
So Watson, dreams of winning gone now. But a birdie here would secure him a share of second place. And he'll have a chance.
Robson Thompson looks like he's pounded his drive up 18 there. Very short shot left. He gets the rewards for that by knocking it in nice and close.
And it's all smiles now after the tension of the day. Started playing age 2 with cut-down clubs made by his dad. His nephew Max there, enjoying his day as well. So Watson, 3 shots gone in the 2 previous holes. He can redeem things a bit here.
That probably sums up his last hour or so.
Yeah, horrible finish really all round after he'd been only 1 behind playing the 16th. Never truly built on a fast start, and 71 is by far his highest round of the week, but it has been, all things considered, a very good week for Nick Watson.
Frustrated, obviously. Try and draw on the positives. Formalities now for Stewart. Can really enjoy himself now. Doesn't quite finish off in style. Will he do the traditional thing and mark up? Yes, he will.
Well, chances of a second win this year were just about over for Brandon Robinson Thompson when shots went on 13 and 14. 72, a long way from the exploits of the 2 previous rounds. And so the stage clears for just 1 man. And after being so close so many times, how sweet it is for Michael Stewart to finally get his breakthrough win in his homeland. Laid the foundations with a front 9 of 32. From there it was all about keeping it steady, which in the end is good enough to win at Leven Links.
Eagle Orchid Scottish Masters champion, how does that feel?
Good, yeah. Yeah, it was a nerve-wracking day all day. Kind of got a little bit lucky with Nick's second shot on 16 and that. I'm not going to say it sealed the deal, I still had some golf to play, but yeah, just relieved.
It's been a turbulent week or so emotion-wise. You missed out narrowly, heartbreakingly last week in the playoff to this joy today. Just tell us about the peaks and the troughs of what you've been through.
It's professional golf, isn't it? It's just, yeah, Friday was low. Managed to pick myself back up on Saturday and then came here on Monday. I was actually fine, but it's a weird feeling. It's just pure relief, to be honest.
7 successive pars to finish, secure the title by 3 shots over McIlroy, who's a runner-up for the 4th time this season. 3rd place equals Watson's best ever finish, and this time it's a solo 3rd. Hats off also to amateur Callan Barrow for a top 10 finish. Michael Stewart is the 4th winner from 4 different countries in the last 4 weeks, emulating Welshman Jack Davidson by coming out on top in his homeland. And the Challenge Tour now beckons for him in 2023. Runner-up McIlroy set to join him there. James Allen missed the cut here, but with 2 wins this year, he's still out in front. Next up, it's the Wright Morgan Championship at Clevedon, the final event before the Tour Championship. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.